We have something. We have something because we are something. Understand what I'm saying? Yeah? Yeah. Most people think we are because we have. Oh, that's the way of the world, isn't it? Isn't that the way of the world? We are because we have. But I'm here to tell you, no. We have because we are. Yes. Because we have a kingdom. We have an inheritance. I don't know about any of you, but I've got nothing in this world. And nobody will leave me nothing when they die. I ain't going to get nothing. Yeah, alright. But in this kingdom, I have an inheritance. Yes. Because of who I am. I am a son of God. Yep. Yeah. Brothers, I'm here to tell you today that you are too. Even you and I know today you're wearing this body of flesh, makes you think female. Yeah. But what we are, what rests within this body is all the same. Yeah. Alright. Alright. One day we will all be sons of God. Yes. Okay. Alright, brothers. We have because we are. Today we're going to look at what we are. You know, when you look in the mirror, you see a reflection of what the outside looks like. Whether you're whatever color you are, whatever, how tall you are, whatever build you are, whatever eye color you are, whatever gender you are, this is what you see. What I'm here today to tell you is that's not who you are at all. It is not who you are. The fact is, it's got nothing to do with who you are. Alright. Alright. Let's get into some scriptures. Let's see the truth of this. Genesis 1, 26 through 27. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish in the sea, over the fowl in the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image, in the image of God created he him, male and female, created he them. And we want to look at who we are, what we are. That's a really good place to start, guys. You know, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I got advice from somebody and I needed to figure something out or find something out, they always told me to go back to the beginning. Yeah, trace your steps. Yeah, okay. Think about that. Well, brothers, in the beginning, when God made us, yes, He made us after His image and His likeness. You know what that means? That means we look like God. That means we are in His image. We are like Him. Think about that. His likeness, His image. We get hung up on this body that we see when we look into the mirror. That's what we see. And we begin to believe that this is who we are. Yes. I'm here to tell you today, brothers. It's not the body that determines who you are or what you are. Yes. There's all kinds of flesh out there. There's all kinds of bodies. Yes, every living thing has a body. The angels have one kind of bodies. The stars have another kind of bodies. The animals have another kind of bodies. And we have a body. But is that who we are? Does that determine who you are? No, it doesn't, does it? Because we know for a fact we are much different than the animals. Not because of how we look, because there are some animals that walk upright, isn't there? I know science says we descended from them. Alright. No, it's not because of the body, brothers. It's because of who we are and what we are. And what we are is in God's image. Yes. His image. His likeness. We're so much more than flesh and blood, brothers. Listen. Genesis 2, verse 7. And the Lord God formed a man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. So what are you? Are you dust of the earth? Or are you a living soul? Let's listen. There's a whole lot of people out there that will convince you that you are dust of the earth. But there's no such thing as a living soul. Why? Well, because we can't see it. It's not there. It can't be measured. It can't be weighed. Alright, let me ask you a question. When does the body stop moving? When it's dead. What is that? What is death? It's when the soul leaves the body. Brothers? Yeah. So, what I ask you today is the life in the flesh or in something more than that? If life is in the flesh, then we should live forever, shouldn't we? I mean, science can do all kinds of things to a man's body. It can give you new parts. Yeah, it can keep you breathing. It can keep you going. It can pump blood in and out of you. I mean, my goodness, there's nothing that science can't do except make you live forever. All right, something to think about. Yeah. The Word tells us that man is a living soul. That's what we are. A living soul in the likeness of God and His image. That's what we are. Yeah. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. A living soul, man. In the image of God. Well, I don't know about you guys, man, but you know, when I finally stopped, just started standing still, and started reflecting about all my life and all the things that I had done, every other thing like that. Yeah. When I realized what I was, a living soul made in the image of God, that did something to me. Yeah. It gave me an identity. It told me who I was. Furthermore, because I knew who I was, now I know what I need to do. It's everything. How many of you have asked yourselves over and over, am I a man? When am I a man? Yeah, I mean, we know we're male. But when am I a man? Alright, think about that. What's my purpose? Why am I here? I'm guessing every one of you have asked yourselves that question. Probably many times. Yes. Alright, brothers. We do have purpose, man. Yes, trust me. We do have an identity. Yes. Because of what we are. But it's when we accept that you are a living soul, made in the image of God, that will lead you. That will lead you. Listen. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verses 6 through 7. Wherefore, I put thee in remembrance that thou stir up the gift of God which is in thee by the putting on of my hands. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. It's a pretty good description. Yeah. We're a living soul. Alright? And this is the identification. This is the description of the soul that is within us. Now, we look out in the world and when we think of power, we think of being able to force people to our will, don't we? That's power, isn't it? Yeah? Oh, well, lots of money, you can pay anybody to do anything, can't you? That's power. Or, you know, when I was dealing dope, I wanted to be the dealer. Because they had all the power, didn't they? Alright, just think. Okay? Yeah. Brothers, let me tell you something. That's not power. Not at all. It's not even a resemblance of power. Power is when you can animate a body of flesh. Some kind of flesh. That's power. How about this? How about power as when you can give to another person something that they did not have before, such as happiness, joy, peace. They walk up to you with a frown and they walk away with a smile. Brothers, that's power. Yeah, that's power. The power that God gave to us was over this flesh. We can make it do whatever we want, can't we? Until we can. Alright, there is a limitation to our power. But you can make it stand up, you can make it walk, you can make it talk, you can make it blink. There's all kinds of movements that you can make it do. Until you can. Yeah, one of the things that I couldn't do was pull that needle out of my arm. Wanted to, but I couldn't do it. Yeah? Alright. Just saying. It has its limitations. Okay. Power of love. Man, you know, if power's got an energy source that drives it, it's got to be love. Yeah. Because the power that you can share, the true power that you can give to other people comes because of love. You know, there's a lot of people running around out here in the world right now talking about hate, love, man, yeah, I'm just saying, yeah. I wonder why it is then they don't love. I wonder why it is then that they cannot empower those people that they say love is absent in. Maybe because they don't have it. Yeah, alright. Just saying, brothers. You can't teach another person what love is unless you know what love is. And you can't share love with another person unless you have it. Now let me tell you something. What you know or maybe not, God is love. No God, no love. That is the reason why this world is falling apart. Everybody is doing their best to run away from God, to deny God, to tell you that there is no God. Yeah. But this is the power that's been given to you, brothers. Yeah, alright. And I'm sure you can understand what a sound mind is. You know, we want to be sober. I'm guessing that's why we're here. Sobriety has brought us here. The desire for sobriety has brought us here. But what I'm here to tell you today, that sobriety begins and ends with a sound mind. Yes. Definitely. It's not just intoxicating substances, brothers. That's not true sobriety. True sobriety is a sound mind. Have y'all ever been like angry? Just lost it, man. Snap! How many decisions did you make that was irrational? That led you to more trouble than you were in before? About pain? Yeah. How many of you have been hurt so bad that you have reacted irrationally that brought you more trouble than you had before? Jealousy. Yeah, the list goes on, doesn't it? Is that a sound mind? It's not sobriety, brothers. Yeah, alright. Sobriety just isn't a grip on your flesh, as in these substances that you put into it. Sobriety is a grip on your soul, on who you are, on your emotions. Yes, that's true sobriety, brothers. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. Because as you leave and you get back, for those of you that stick it out to finish the program, guess what you're going to go back to? Life. Yeah. You're going to continue living. You're going to continue having emotion. You're going to continue meeting such circumstances that make you feel like you want to die. That will bring you much pain. Yes. It's never going to end, folks. Never. Not until we leave this body. Okay? Yeah. Alright. And so that this sound mind that God has given to us with this power, powered by this love, will enable us to be sober and not just for substances. Not just for substances. To have this sound mind. So, we are a living soul, made in the image and likeness of God, with power, love, and a sound mind. Now my question to you is, how do you lose those things? What causes you to lose those things that have been given to you? Yeah, alright. It's time to make better choices, brothers. Yeah, okay. Listen. Let's see what else we are. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them members of a harlot? God forbid. What? Know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh. Therefore, he that is joined unto the Lord is one spirit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's that sound like? Sounds like I'm a little more than a living soul, doesn't it? When we love God, yes, we become one spirit with God. Oh man, what are the implications of that? I mean, seriously, what are the implications of that? What kind of responsibility does that give you? What does that make you? To be one spirit with God. Brothers, we are so much more than flesh and bone. If we want to be. Brothers, it's very difficult for us to have a full understanding of just what we are. I can read these to you and I can tell these things to you, but there will come a day, if you seek these things, that you will feel this. And I can't describe that to you. That must be experienced. And if you seek it, and you desire it with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your might, you will experience that. Yes. You will, brothers. One spirit with the Lord. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. Think about that. Think about that. So, we are members of Christ. Listen, you have members in your body, don't you? Arms, legs, toes, fingers, yeah, all kinds of members in your body. Each one of us who confess the name of Christ are members in the body of Christ. Why? Because we do what He says. Think about that. What if you had an arm that did not do what you said? It wouldn't move when you wanted it to move. Alright, so that, brothers, this members of Christ's body is we are in obedience to Christ. Alright, makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. And when we are members of Christ, brothers, Christ is our head. Think about that. You know, there are some strict denominations of Christianity out there. Yeah, they have a saying. When a man wears the Christ head in his home. Yes. Alright. That's a responsibility, men. Yeah. But more than that, the head of Christ is God. So that, because you are in the body of Christ, God is the head of that body. Now my question to you is, will you wear the head of Christ? Think about what the head does. Does all the thinking. It takes in all the sights, takes in all the smells, takes in all the sounds, and it does all the talking. You don't let Christ do that in your life? That's how we become His members. Yeah, brothers. It's time. It's time. This is who you are. This is what you are. It's time. You are members of His body. He did die for you. Yes, that much is certain. The question is, will you become members of His body? Because you are a living soul made in the image of God. Have been given power, love, and sound mind. Brothers, we have a heritage. Look, I know you look in the mirror, and I know you might see a white guy, you might see a black guy, you might think you see an American or German or African. I mean, the list goes on of what you might think when you look in the mirror. But today I'm telling you, you have a heritage. And it begins and ends with God. That's your heritage. In His image, after His likeness. John chapter 10, verses 30 through 33. Listen now. Jesus says, I and my Father are one. Then the Jews took up stones to stone Him. Jesus answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do you stone me? The Jews answered Him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, because thou, being a man, makest thyself God. Why are they saying Christ made Himself to be God? Because He said, I and the Father are one. Yeah, alright. So because He said, I and the Father are one, that's the same as Him calling Himself God to these people, which they say is blasphemy. Alright. Brothers, I need to tell you something today. Yeah. Well, we've already learned that we were made in the image of God. We've already learned that we're made in the likeness of God. And we've already learned that when we join ourselves to the Lord, we become one spirit with God. Now, I'm asking you today, are you and God one? Are you going to be one with God? There's a way to do that. And there really is, brothers. I don't know how long ago it's been. How many of you have been coming for 2 months? Or I may have to get that in. But the first step, brothers, is changing the way we think. If we're going to wear Christ's head, then we must think like Christ. And that takes you renewing your mind to change the way you think, to begin to think like Christ. It's going to take you changing the way you speak to begin to speak like Christ. And brothers, if you do this, God is going to give you a new heart with strength and power like you've never felt. Joy that will burn in you like a star. Yes. And when He does, you need to take the desires of this new heart and set it on the things above. Not the things of this world, on the things above. Which means that you will work for the things above and not the things of this world. Then you can be one with God. Then you will be one with God. Not that we are God, brothers, but that we are working the same will as members of His body. Now what I got to ask you is, which member of your body is not you? Which one is not you. The one that doesn't obey you. That's the one that's not you. I don't know whose arm this is. Won't get nothing, I say. Alright, brothers. Think about that. So we are one with God when we obey Him. When we wear the Christ head and we obey Him. Brothers, there's only going to be one reason why anyone obeys. It's because we love. Because we love. Brothers, we need to love God. Jesus said the greatest commandment, and I'll say this every message, and I hope to say it the rest of my life. Yes? But we must love God with all our minds, with all of our hearts, and with all of our strength. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I'm telling you today, brothers, is you are not going to love God until you feel the love that God has for you. You don't know what love is today. You think you do. You definitely got an idea of what love is, but you don't know what love is. But when you feel love, then you know what love is. Now, I'm not telling you that none of you have ever felt love. What I'm telling you is that when you felt it, did not know what it was. Because you had a different idea. Yeah? Alright. Alright, brothers. I'm going to go over some of these things here in a couple weeks. Alright, man. But for today, let it be known that we cannot share this until we have felt this to know what it is. Yes? Alright. Just like when you was a kid, they said, don't play with fire. Don't touch this. You'll get burned. You didn't know what that was, did you? Now, till when? Until you felt it. Alright, brothers. Alright, man. We must have love for God. And brothers, the way to feel this love that God has for us is to understand how He loves us. Yes. Alright. And have that love for Him. So that we're one with God when we are obedient. Listen, Galatians 3:26-27. For ye are all children of God by faith in Christ Jesus. For as many of you as have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. I'm going to be honest with you. That didn't make no sense to me for a long time. You know, because it almost sounds like I'm becoming Christ. Yeah? Alright. But what I got to ask you is, when you start doing the things that Christ did, when you start going out sharing the gospel, when you start telling other people this truth, when you begin inviting people into this kingdom, are you not like Christ? Are you not doing the very same thing that He's doing? That He's done? Alright, folks. Yeah. Okay. We don't become Jesus Christ, obviously. But we become like Him. If we act like Him. If we imitate Him. Yes, brothers. That begins. That begins with baptism. Yeah. Actually, let me rephrase that. It begins right here. When you have accepted that. When you want that. Yeah, alright. That's where it begins. Yeah. The act is just for the eyes of other people, folks. Yeah? Alright. Alright. Yes. Yes. Some of you understand that. You see this, get a smile on your face, man. Yeah, I'm just saying, folks. Yeah. There's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason there, girl. Some of you understand this. Alright. Alright, man. Brothers, we must put on Christ. We must. We absolutely must. Christ is one with God. We need to be one with God, so that we must put on Christ to become one with God. Because we are a living soul made in the image of God, and we are like God. That's why we must. That's why we must, friends. The hands of code. Turn the page. Alright. Listen to this now. This is what Jesus thinks of you. Matthew 10, 24 through 25. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call him them of his household? It took me a long time to understand that. But then I did. It is enough for the disciple to be as his master. What is he saying? It is enough for the disciple to be equal to his master, but not above his master. Understand? Because Christ is our master. We are his disciples. If we choose to put on Christ. Yes? We are his servants. He is our Lord. It is enough for us to be like our Lord, but not above our Lord. Brothers, we are like God. Christ is telling us we are like God. And we are like Christ. Yes. If you choose. If you choose. It's a wonderful feeling, brothers. Christ says, John 15:15. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things I have heard of my Father, I have made known to you. You are my friends, if you do whatsoever I ask of you. I don't know, man. You know, to be friends with this world is to be an enemy of God. You understand? To be friends with this world is to be an enemy of God. And I don't want to be that guy's enemy, brothers. I'm just saying, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God for judgment. Yep. Paul tells us that a man that judges himself needs not be judged by God. The question is, what is going to be your standard of judgment? Now, I've met all kinds of people say, you know, I'm basically a good person. I've never done this, yeah, or I've never done that, and that's what makes him a good person. Yeah? Alright, brothers, if that's how you're judging yourself, you're going to fall into the hands of the living God. Yep, alright. The judgment that we need to bring against ourselves is the very same judgment that God is going to use. Yes, because when we judge ourselves like that, then we will feel the conviction that God is trying to lay upon our hearts so that we will be like Christ. It's just that simple, man. It's not hard stuff, folks. It's not a mystery. It's really not. It's really that simple. It really is, folks. Because when you become like Christ, you're going to do what Christ does. And the next thing you know, hey, the next thing you know, you will be discipling other people. What do you think about that? Yeah. Prison to Praise is a ministry of disciples. That disciples are the disciples. To go on and disciple more disciples. It's a never-ending cycle, friends. Yeah, it's a never-ending cycle. To be like Christ. That's the example. We don't say we're good people because we haven't done this. We don't say we're good people because we haven't done that. Ask yourself, how are you like Christ? You'll find a lot of shortcomings that way, won't you? Yeah? Alright. Yeah. Begins in the mind and in the heart, friends. In the mind and in the heart. God has already given you the power. He's already given you the love. He's already given you the sound mind. He's already made you in His image. You are already a living soul. Now there's a choice. Now there's a choice. Listen. John chapter 1, verses 12 through 13. But as many as received Him, them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. You know, science tells us that we're born in this world. Because of sperm entering an egg, and creating a zygote, turning into a fetus. All right. They got a real good explanation for this process, don't they? Yeah. All right, that's not it. That's not it. That may be an observation of what is taking place with the eyes, but that is not the reason why. Because God knew you before you were ever you. Yeah. He knew you. And because He knew you, He created the flesh that you wear in your mother's womb. He made you this tall. He made you this wide. He made you this color. He gave you these eyes. He gave you this hair. He gave you these hands. He gave you and made you what you are. Now you have to admit, going through this life, there have been a lot of circumstances that we have had to endure because of this flesh. Whether because of its color, because of its weight, because of its eye color, because of its hair color, because of what other people have liked or disliked. There have been many circumstances that we have endured because of these things. Yeah, and it's helped to make us who we are. Furthermore, it has taught us things too, hasn't it? Yeah. Not just about ourselves, but about other people too. Yeah, okay. But you are who you are what you are because of the will of God. Always remember that. Always remember that. And brothers, listen. It is not God's will. It's not His will to harm us. Sometimes I know it might seem that way. I know it gets hard, man, but it is not God's will to harm us, but to prosper us always. Always. Remember that. Remember that the next time you're in a circumstance, man. Yeah? Alright. Keep holding on. Don't give up. There are still things that you're in control of, aren't there? You're not in control of your circumstances, but you are in control of the words that come out of your mouth. And you are in control of what these hands do. Yeah, alright. Yeah. Serve God. Serve God with these things. If you're going to wear the Christ head, then speak like Christ. Think like Christ. Yeah. And you will be like Christ. Not above the Master, but as the Master. His friend. Brothers, we must put on Christ. Absolutely. And if we were not made in the image of God, if we were not a living soul, we could not be like Christ. And Christ is telling us we can. Yeah, He can. That's what He says. Do you believe? Do you believe that? Brothers, you're going to have to. And you ain't going to get off square one if you don't believe these things. I'm just saying. Yeah. I got no reason to come down here and stand in this cold to lie to you. I mean, I hope you understand that. I hope you realize there's no purpose for me coming down here doing these things without saying these things and lie. Alright. One of the things we learn when we're living on the streets, man, is how to spot people. Read people. Yep. Alright, just saying. Hopefully you read something different than aloud from me. Brothers, we're sons of God. Made in His image. After His likeness. We've been given power, a sound mind, and love, the ability to make rational choices. breathe like Christ. You have been given that ability. But you must exercise it. And it begins right here. Changing the way you think. Changing how you feel. Because what's going to happen when you change the way you think? The way you feel is going to change automatically. Yeah. You are in control, brothers. You are. You are in control of how you feel. You're not in control of the circumstances. But you are in control of how you feel. You might not be in control of what you feel. Because I can't stop myself from feeling pain. Yeah, alright. But I can stop myself from wallowing in that pain. Yeah, alright. We are in control of this. We can be like Christ. Because God made us in His likeness, in His image, to become one spirit with Him, to wear Christ's head, to be as the Master, to be as the Lord. Yeah, alright. It's possible, brothers. It's possible. The question is, do you want it? The question is, do you want it? Because what we are today, brothers, we shall not always be. Do you understand? What we are today is going to determine what we become. Trust me. Trust me. Yes. Be sons of God today. Yeah? Alright. You might not be a heavenly being today, but you can act like a heavenly being today and become a heavenly being on that day. That's what I'm saying. We look around us, we see this world, we don't think of the kingdom of heaven, but what I'm telling you is if you act like this world is the kingdom of heaven, you will walk in the kingdom of heaven someday. Alright, man. Alright, guys. It's possible. It is possible. Any of these people that you see up at this table at any time, serving, ask them. Just ask them. Any one of them. Anything that I'm telling you. Yeah? It's called testimony, brothers. It's called confirmation. I know it's cold. Brothers, I never thought of myself as a son of God. I never thought of myself as anything other than the low ideal as that I knew I was. And what I'm telling you today is that is not what you are. That may be what you've acted like, but it is not what you are. Be there. It's time. Be there. Christ has given you the opportunity to be something other than that. Yes. Take full advantage of it. Yeah. Alright. Don't wait. Don't wait. You ain't promised tomorrow. Don't wait. Have faith today. It's time to start loving God. Alright, brothers. Let's close. Lord, we don't fully understand what it is that you've made us of. We don't fully understand exactly what it is that you are, that we are like, Lord. But Lord, today help us to understand what it feels like to be your son. What it feels like to have this love, to have your love, to be loved by you, Father. What it feels like today to have the power that you have given to us, Lord, not over our own flesh, Lord, but the power that we're able to share with other people, to empower them with. Help us, Father. Strengthen us that we can be like Jesus, Father. That we can put on the Christ head and walk through this world as Christ walked through this world, Father. Give us the strength. Give us the desire. Make it burn within us. Melt away all that we are that is not pleasing to you, Father. That we may be as our Master. That we may be as our Lord. That we may show other people our Master and our Lord through how we are and who we are, Father. We give thanks, Lord, that you have made us to be these people. We thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Sassy sex with Jesus. Where's she at?